here on Democracy Now!, democracynow.org. The War and Peace Report. We're broadcasting on 800 stations on Pacific and NPR and low-power FM and college and community radio stations on public access TV and PBS TV stations and both TV satellite networks, Dish Network Channel 9415, Free Speech TV 9410, Link TV, and on DirecTV Channel 375. And we're video and audio podcasting at democracynow.org. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. Juan?
Well, in Afghanistan, a powerful truck bomb killed at least 25 people today, including up to 16 school children in a province just south of Kabul. The truck, which was loaded with firewood, ran off the road at night and overturned. When police and civilians arrived to turn the vehicle over, it exploded. Afghan authorities speculate the vehicle might have been intended for use in an attack in the capital. The latest bloodshed coincided with a major American military offensive in Helmand province in the south. U.S. forces last week launched what's being described as the largest Marine offensive since the Vietnam War. Some 4,000 Marines and hundreds of Afghan troops are targeting areas in the Helmand River Valley to wrest it from Taliban control. On Wednesday, a top U.S. Marine commander said there was an urgent need for more Afghan security forces, as well as civilian experts to back up the offensive. Brigadier General Larry Nicholson told reporters, quote, "I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The fact of the matter is we don't have enough Afghan forces, and I'd like to have more."
On Monday, 7 U.S. troops were killed in 4 separate attacks that marked the deadliest day for U.S. forces in Afghanistan in nearly a year. The numbers of Afghan dead, meanwhile, go unreported. There are an estimated 57,000 U.S. troops deployed in Afghanistan, the number expected to rise to at least 68,000 by the end of the year as part of President Obama's escalation of the war. We go now to Kabul to speak with Anand Gopal, a journalist based in Afghanistan. We welcome you to Democracy Now! Anand, tell us what is happening there.
Well, as you mentioned, there's a major military push by the Americans into Helmand province in the south. Right now, this is on a scale that we haven't seen in the last few years, with 4,000 Marines. And initially, there hasn't been a lot of fighting. The Taliban have sort of just melted away, and the Americans have moved into towns and areas which were previously controlled by the Taliban. And at the same time, across the country, it's been escalating levels of violence. There's record levels in pretty much most of the southern provinces. There's been 21 soldiers killed in the first 7 days of this month, which is outpacing every month previous to this.
And the British forces have also lost, I think, as many as 7 soldiers in recent days. Are they also involved in this offensive, or is this just attacks on their positions?
No, they are involved, but the province that this offensive is happening, Helmand province, has been under the purview of the British for the last few years. So the British forces have been active here for quite some time. And as this offensive is targeting certain districts or certain areas in the province, the British forces are involved in sort of shoring up the positions in other parts of the province. And in those areas, they're hitting roadside bombs and being killed at a high rate.
Anand Gopal, the statement of the General Mullen talking about Afghanistan, also the Pentagon awarding war contractors DynCorp and Fluor 5-year deals at $7.5 billion, companies providing, quote, support and logistics at U.S. military bases.
Yeah, this is an issue that's been very divisive here because the contractors have been the ones who've been really doing a lot of the things that have traditionally been done by the U.S. military. DynCorp, for example, is largely responsible for training Afghan police forces and Afghan security forces. The offensive in Helmand has about 4,000 Marines, but it only has a few hundred Afghan security forces. And one of the reasons why is because the training of these forces is not up to par. A lot of especially the police, are deemed to be not ready to take this sort of offensive. And DynCorp has been involved in that training for the last few years.
And Anand Gopal, what about the civilian population in the area of the offensive? In previous parts of the country, airstrikes by American forces have taken a huge civilian toll. What's happening with the civilian population?
Well, there's a lot of fear on the part of the civil population because the population there has suffered from airstrikes for quite a few years. In fact, large numbers of the population in Helmand have actually left the province over the last 3 years and have gone to IDP camps, displaced persons camps in various cities such as Kandahar and Kabul. And so they're very wary of the offensive. Thus far, we haven't seen any major civilian casualties because the fighting hasn't been that intense. There's only been one major airstrike that's been called in the last couple of days.